Welcome to Kitty Adventures' first Q&A. Video is sponsored by Weirdness and Pineapples. Hey guys, so today we're going to do a Q&A and I'm going to answer some questions for you. First of all, I'd like to point out is that I have a huge pimple on my face and I tried covering it up, but I have no idea what I'm doing, so try not to stare at it while I'm talking. Thanks! The first questions come from Nejestica. Nejestica asks, what do I do to get my creative juices flowing? Well, the only thing I really do to get my creative juices flowing is that at the times that they are flowing, when I come up with like 6 or 7 ideas, I write all those ideas down so that when I'm having kind of a downtime, I can just revert to that list, find one that I want to do, and create it. Her second question asks whether I've ever suffered from writer's block and what I do to prevent it. And yes, I suffer from writer's block a lot actually, and it's super annoying. And the thing I found best to prevent writer's block is to, 1, have a clean atmosphere in the area that you're working. Like, I'll clean my house first before I work, or else it'll be in my mind the whole time that my house is dirty and I can't get anything done. And number 2 is create a lot of time just not to do work. And what I mean by that is make sure you hang out with your friends and that you're doing non-work related stuff. For me, that means going out to coffee with my friends, reading a book, just doing things that relax me so that the next day when I need to sit down and do something, I can get through it without being stressed. And specifically for writing, I make sure that I write every time that I have it scheduled. I sit down and I write no matter what else I'm doing, and I just write something even if I throw it out later. So I just make sure that I am writing and I sit down and I just tunnel through it and I do it even if it's crappy. Her third question asks me how I stay motivated doing housework, and for one, I kind of like doing housework. Am I weird? I love having things clean and I like having things organized. If there is a task that I don't like that I do have to do, for example making the bed or doing other things that I just really hate doing, I will reward myself with a piece of chocolate or a coffee, a special kind of coffee or something. So I would say set up a reward system for yourself. You know, like when you were a kid and you had that chart and you had to put stickers, and after 7 stickers you got a toy. Yeah, I still do that as an adult. Her last question has to do with being a stay-at-home wife, and she wants to know what kind of encouragement I would offer if you want to be a stay-at-home wife but you can't for financial reasons. And back when I was working, before I quit my job, I looked to every single day that I went to work as working towards that goal of quitting my job. So I tried to forget about the drudgery. I tried to forget about how mind-numbing it was to answer calls and make cheeseburgers or whatever it was that I was doing, and just looked at that every day I was building up a nest egg or working towards the goal of quitting my job or being a stay-at-home mom. And that's the way I looked at it. Alright, on to the next person. Lucy asks me, what is my favorite thing to do with Mr. Adventure, as in date ideas? And I am the worst person for date ideas. Mr. Adventure and I don't really go on dates. I'm sorry. If we do go on a date, it's probably super weird and not something that normal people do. I don't know. For example, our favorite kind of date to do, and we do this about once a week, is to go to Target. I'm not kidding you. We leave our wallets in the car, or I at least give my credit card to Mr. Adventure because I'm the impulse buyer, so I give my credit card to him. And the plan is don't buy anything at Target. We don't go there to buy things. We walk around, we look at everything, we make plans for our house because Target has our Target has groceries in it. Sometimes we buy a pretzel. That's our date. We walk around Target, we spend about 45 minutes there, we wander through every section, we even look at the toys, we look at electronics, we try things out, we just hang out at Target, and it's really fun. I don't feel any pressure to buy things, so I guess if you feel pressured into buying things, this would not be a good idea. So that's my date idea. Let me know if this helps, because it probably doesn't. Because Mr. Adventure and I are like homebodies, and we like to stay home and sit in our house and stare at our iPhones. Angela says that she ever wonders if I think about going back to work. And yes, I do think about that a lot. Sometimes I miss the structure of having a job, and I miss the financial stability of having my own job and having my own income and not having to like ask my husband for money or like be a burden to him, even though I'm not a burden to him. Like, we don't think about it that way. Sometimes I feel that way, and it can be hard to push past that. So I do think about going back to work. I applied to a job actually about 4 months ago for a coffee shop, and I didn't end up getting it. I have thought about going back to work, and if the perfect job opens up that I'm free on the weekends, I may consider doing that. But whenever I think about it, my husband always talks me out of it, and either that or I talk myself out about it. Or like the coffee shop job, which would have been perfect because it was only part-time for a couple hours in the morning. They just didn't hire me. They had over 100 applicants, so that's fine. So yes, I think about that all the time, and I try not to let it bother me, or if I do, I just discuss it with my husband and see where he's at and go from there. Alright, Angela also asked how being a stay-at-home wife has affected my friends and my family, and for my family, it hasn't really affected them at all. My mom is really supportive. Like, she helped me move to Blacksburg when I was moving up there. She helped me move back at home. You know, she's very supportive. She wants me to be happy, and she wants to support me, and I think that's amazing. For my friends, I had a few friends that thought that was amazing that I could do that, and I had a few kind of friends that were like, well, I wish I could do that. You know, you're lucky and stuff like that. But it hasn't really affected that either. In a negative way, I would say. I do have more time to spend with my friends, you know, because we don't have to try to fit my schedule into their schedule to try to find a time to meet. I'm just available all the time, and therefore I can spend more time, and I've actually cultivated better relationships, I think, with my friends because of that. And I have made a lot of new friends since becoming a stay-at-home wife. I guess it's because I'm more immersed in my culture here. I meet more people locally. I'm able to just talk to other artists and other stay-at-home wives and moms. If I had one superpower, what would it be? I would really like to read minds, especially my husband's mind. Although I'd probably not be happy. I don't know. I wouldn't want anyone to read my mind. What are 3 things that make me happy? Well, 3 things right now that make me really happy is fall and yarn. Yarn always makes me happy. Growing closer to God is making me really happy, even though that's a really big struggle, and it kind of waxes and wanes throughout the seasons, but it does bring me a lot of joy. And the last thing she asked is, what are 3 things that make me sad? I suppose not being able to have children right now, possibly never. That kind of makes me sad. Another thing that makes me sad is my husband works a lot, as in it's Saturday right now that I'm filming this and he's working today, and that does make me sad. The 3rd thing that makes me sad, I don't know, probably the amount of war in the world right now. I know that war can be necessary, you know, to protect people, but I wish people were more reasonable and that other countries or us or whatever didn't have to make those kinds of decisions, whether right or wrong, to go to war, and because innocent people are going to get hurt, and that makes me sad. Kelly asks, if someone was making a movie of my life, who would I get to play myself? And I would pick Deanna of Delirious Rhapsody to play myself, just because I think she could channel my inner weirdness like really well. Okay, and then someone called You Know Who asked me if I like ponies. And my husband told me that was him who asked that question, and yes, husband, I like ponies. Alright, Kristin asked me 3 questions. Her first question was, what is one book that I've read so far that has surprised me that I liked it? And I think this would be Dandelion Wine by Ray Bradbury. And that's because it was a school assignment, and I usually end up hating, you know, required reading, because the other book we had to read that year was Moby Dick, and I absolutely hated that book so much. So I was surprised to like Dandelion Wine, and I love Ray Bradbury to this day. If I could only pick one yarn to crochet with, it would certainly be maroon. I love maroon, it looks good on me. It's one of my favorite colors, so I would certainly wear that. And then Kristin asks me what film is a guilty pleasure for me. A film that I watch all the time, as in probably about once a month, is My Neighbor Totoro. This is a Disney film. Well, it was first of all a Japanese film, and I love that film. It makes me happy. The music is really great. It's just all over an adorable experience. Alright, Kristin asks again, what is one thing I want to learn to do in the future? And one thing I really want to learn how to do is to spin my own yarn, and I know that you do that, Kristin, and it's so cool. I'm so jealous of all the pictures you post. I really want to learn to do that, but right now I just have so much going on that I don't think it's really possible right now. But one day I will learn this. Emma asks, what would I like my life to look like in 5 years? Well, I would like to be a successful pattern designer, so I want to be selling knitting patterns and knitted works a little bit more successfully than I am now. Right now I make about 1 sale a month, and that's pretty good. I'm kind of happy with that, but I would like to see that grow. Another thing I would like to see is I would love to have a baby. I would love to see what a mixture of Mr. Adventure and I would look like, and that is something, although I hear it's quite painful, that I would like to experience the next 5 years. Alright, and my last question is from Heidi Lynn Burke, who's she's a writer and I love her works. If you read it all, you should check out her books. I'll put a link down in the description. Okay, her question. Her question is, what is my favorite guilty pleasure? Well, it's probably buying things on Amazon. Like, you know how you have one thing, so you look on Amazon and you find it for cheaper, and then it's like, pay $15 more and get free shipping. So you're like, okay, I gotta find something else for $15, and then you end up spending $30 more. And so I guess my favorite guilty pleasure is Amazon. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I just want to thank each and every one of you for reading my blog. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Those of you that had a blog or left your blog in the comment, I'm going to link down below to all of your different blogs. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye!